Hi, this is Michael. We haven't talked about vibrato, have we? So that's one thing I want to do today. Vibrato is a very important ingredient in our sound. It makes it come to life in some way. Of course, sometimes we play without vibrato, but that's more of an effect. Where does it come from, the vibrato? I don't know, but I know how to practice it. Because if you practice like what some people call the support, we can talk about that later sometime, but from down here you actually can control the air here. And then the vibrato, the movement we make for the vibrato when it's faster, cannot only come from down here, but that's what we have to practice. So where do we find the muscles to do that? Because we can't control the diaphragm directly. We need to control muscles here. And there's one thing you can do is like coughing, you know. And also you can, if you like dogs, try to bark like a dog, like woof, woof. It's not as good, but it can work. But this coughing is because what you're doing is you produce a very high airspeed. When you've done this and you feel where you have these muscles when you're coughing, please be aware of this part just under your under the chest, because if you work down here, like in the abdominal muscles, and you push up the air and then this part goes out, I mean you lose all the energy. You want it to get into the flute. So this part should be either still or go inward. Okay. So you can take a metronome and you put it on 60, like this. But it doesn't need to be exactly 60. You can do it a bit slow in the beginning too. Then you take a G, for example, this, and then you do this fast air puffs, like. You see? Now, when you do this fast air puffs, you get like a lot of higher notes, and that's okay. Don't care about which notes, just that it's higher notes, harmonics in some way. And then what you also need to be aware of is that the note comes down immediately after you stop pushing. Because if you don't, if the note doesn't come down at once, it means that you are tense here. That's when I do this with many students in the beginning, they're often tense and then the note doesn't come down directly to the low G. So that's what you have to practice. Really try to relax here. So that you're only working down here. Right. I do it again. Okay, when you practice that for some time, you double it. The speed, if it's 60 or 50 or 68, doesn't matter so much. But try to have some feeling of a pace when you're doing it. So when you double it, you do this air puffs the same way like when you do 1. And but when you do 3 in the same pace, like. You can be on the same note, just like it's vibrato is a very big amplitude. And then if that works and you can be relaxed doing it, just do 4. Then 5 and so on. But don't do all this in the beginning, because you need to get used to it, you need to find the muscles. If you do it too fast in the beginning, you will get tense, and then actually will have a negative effect on you. So be aware of you're working from down here, you find these muscles, and also you have to think of you need to practice these muscles. It doesn't just work at once. So maybe you will need to practice some weeks to make it really work. But I would say 2 or 3 weeks, that will be okay. And maybe your vibrato will already work then, but it's not sure. But one thing it will do, it will improve your tone. Because the more control you get here, the better your tone will be. We talk about that more in another lesson, because I want to talk about this illustrious thing that's called support. You have to find out what it really is. Okay? So, but for now, just practice this vibrato, and this way you do it like I do it once more, just in the right order. I'll do it once more in the order you should practice it. First one, if you have the pace. I can use the metronome for... No, I do it in 60. Then you take 2. Okay, and then 3 on the same. And 4. You can't hear the metronome when I'm playing. Okay, so 4 and this pace is already difficult to do it only from here. So I think if you feel that it's difficult to just do it from here when you're doing 4, just go back to 3. Just practice this part first. Then in the end, it will move up a bit. Something else will happen, because when you're playing vibrato later, you don't think you're doing like 4 or 5 or 6 per beat. Just it should be natural, but you can control it. It was fast one. So you can do different kind of vibratos, and also when you play a note, let's say you start the Gluck. Thing like that. So, I mean, you gradually increase the speed of the vibrato. Or, I mean, you have to do something with the long notes to make it to come to life. This is one way to do it. Practicing this will take time. So, because what you're doing is you're exercising your muscles. Like these muscles who do this pushing or this puff need to be exercised. So, if it takes time, don't worry about it. Just take it slowly. If you only can do once per second and you have trouble to get down to the low G again, just work on that and try to work on to be relaxed here, the throat. So everything comes from here. And also this part, you should never lift it like this. You should always keep this down, because this is very difficult to control. If you do this, you will easily get tense here on the throat. So be relaxed here, just relax, and your diaphragm goes down, your stomach goes out. And practice it slowly and try to get control, because that's what we're working on, control of the air, control of the airspeed. So don't rush it. Okay, so you just do it once per beat, 2 per beat, 3, and then if it's too fast, go back. So you will see in a few weeks, your control will be better, and it will have an immense influence on your tone, I think. Because the more control you have over the air, or the airspeed, the better your tone will be. So practice the vibrato this way, and then later you can do some other exercises for it. Okay, see you next time.